Welcome to the Show Day Podcast Season Preview Edition. The next season preview is for the Crossmen from San Antonio, Texas. They've been a DCI semifinalist every single season since 1980. They have been in 5 consecutive DCI finals after a few years of bouncing around, They finally found their area at kind of the bottom of finals for the last few seasons. Their best finish came in both 1992 and 1997. Highest they've ever gotten is 6th place. Last season, they finished 12th, 86.75 at the end of the season. The Crossmen, they look to be coming out flying this season. No pun intended. So, first part of the season preview, the 2019 schedule for the Crossmen. They won't be at the DCI Tour premiere, but will debut 2 nights later. June 22nd with Drums on Parade in Madison, Wisconsin. The following night, a new addition to the DCI streaming schedule this season is DCI Crossroads in Zionsville, Indiana. It's going to be a fun show to watch because really not from a competitive aspect, but from a just fun to watch, some good quality productions there. Be a fun watch for Flow Marching subscribers. June 24th, then Drums on the Ohio in Evansville, Indiana. Then a few days off, they'll pick back up on June 28th, though, with DCI Central Indiana in Muncie, Indiana. Then 2 more consecutive events, Show of Shows in Rockford and River City Rhapsody Rochester Edition in Minnesota. That's how they end the month of June. Resume July 2nd with the Northwoods Encore in Wausau, Wisconsin. Then July 3rd, the Rotary Music Festival in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. After having that show on July 3rd, the Crossmen then pick up on July 6th with the Whitewater Classic in Whitewater, Wisconsin, where the first DCI World Championships were held. The following night, DCI Menominee in Menominee, Wisconsin. That is what formerly was DCI Minnesota, now DCI Menominee. Really, it was not feasible or even practical to have that show in such a big stadium anymore, with decreasing decline in tickets and in course participating. Just really no point in having that. Plus, it's in the middle of Minnesota. That's not a huge market. July 9th, DCI Morningside in Sioux City, Iowa. Then, instead of really coming east or doing whatever, Crossmen go back out west. They do the Rocky Mountain Tour, as I like to call it. There's like Pacific Northwest Tour, there's the Rocky Mountain Tour, there's the East Coast part of tour. They do the Rocky Mountain part of tour. July 12th, Drums Along the Rockies in Casper, Wyoming. July 13th, Drums Along the Rockies, the real Drums Along the Rockies in Denver. July 13th is one of the best days of tour this year. You've got 3 premier events all streamed live on Flow Marching. You've got DCI Memphis, you've got TOC Northern Illinois, and now, as I just talked about, Drums Along the Rockies. Looks to be a very fun-filled night. Then they'll have one more show in the Midwest in El Dorado, Kansas, with Drums Across Kansas. Then go down to Texas, their neck of the woods, for DCI North Texas in Denton, and then the DCI Southwestern Championship in the hometown of San Antonio for the first regional that every corps is participating at. After San Antonio, then, July 22nd, DCI Mesquite in Mesquite, Texas. July 24th, only one more show, so only 2 shows during that week before Atlanta. That's something we're not really seeing from anybody, but we are seeing it from the Crossmen. July 24th, DCI Arkansas in Little Rock. Then July 27th, as I mentioned, the Atlanta, Georgia Southeastern Championship show. Second, look at everybody together on equal playing field. July 30th, the Summer Music Games of Southwest Virginia, and then July 31st, Tour of Champions Chester Edition. Have August 1st and 2nd off. Resume August 3rd, Saturday night of the DCI Eastern Classic in Allentown. August 5th, then, Tour of Champions Akron Edition in Ohio. And then the DCI World Championships in Indianapolis, August 8th through the 10th. The 2019 drum majors for the Crossmen are going to play a bigger role in the show than you might think. Usually you've got the leadership, you've got the conducting, you've got the normal tasks of the drum majors. But this year, the Crossmen's drum majors, they take on the role of the, I don't know what you want to call it, actor or performer or whatever you want to call it, playing a bigger role than just the normal drum major duties in this show. You've got three of them. You've got Lydia Marshall, who was with the Crossmen last year. You've got Allison Zimmerman and Judson Hayden. The main staff for the Crossmen this year, starting at the top, Natalie Steele is the new Crossmen CEO, yet another corps with administrative turnover. Ed Devlin is program coordinator for the Crossmen. He's really one of the bigger profile individuals in the marching arts. You think this is his 10th year, that is, with the Crossmen. He's been a designer for every spectrum: marching band, drum corps, winter guard, winter percussion, everything. And also has been a judge across many circuits as well. He's the current director of Blessed Sacrament Color Guard and the president of the WGI Board of Directors, so like the highest person at WGI, and is also a member of the WGI and Crossmen Hall of Fame. So a guy that doesn't hurt to have on your staff. Andrew Markworth, he is music ensemble arranger and music coordinator. Andrew Ebert is visual designer and visual coordinator. He marched the Glassmen and the Blue Devils during his marching days. He has worked with Crown, Madison, and the Troopers in many different roles, and also was a member and currently is a member of the design team with Infinity Percussion from Florida, who was the WGI fan favorite this past season. Tyler Edrington is color guard designer. He marched Crown, Phantom, Paramount Winter Guard, and currently has a degree in music education. He also currently works with many groups, including Paramount Winter Guard, Eastlake High School in Florida, and Origins Winter Guard. Blake Jardy is visual caption head. Stephen Mason is brass caption head. He holds a master's in euphonium performance from UCLA. He's been with the Troopers and Carolina Crowns brass staff and is director of Rhythm X Wins, the 2019 WGI Wins Independent World Champions. Andrew Young is the assistant brass caption head. He's the current director of bands at West Oak High School in California and marched baritone with Carolina Crown from 2012 to 2014. Lane Summerlin is percussion caption head. Ryan Ellis is battery coordinator, and Molly Favret is color guard caption manager. The Crossmen's 2019 production is entitled Valkyrie. This show is going to be one of the most interesting this year, and I've seen many different things where people are like, how do 20 corps fit into finals, and how do 15 corps fit into the top 5? That's what this season's shaping up to be. The Crossmen are, I'd say, one of the big reasons for that, if you think of the different things, because they've been kind of stuck down there, 10th, 11th, 12th the past few years. I like the Continuum show. Enigma, I believe the next one was called, and then the in-between. Those were 3 very good shows, but everybody else was kind of stepping up their game a little bit more. Now this year, pretty much, if you've looked up the Crossmen show on YouTube, you found it. There's like 7 different videos on it about, or on YouTube featuring the Crossmen show from MMX, and it is It's good. I'll say that much. And I'm going to use, if you've watched any of my other podcasts since I've watched the Field Pass with Dan Potter and Lee Carlson, the Crossmen show, according to Lee Carlson, is featuring, not necessarily featuring, but about a strong woman character. The male figures in the core, the male performers, are growing out their hair and facial hair. So they're kind of taking on this really odd role in the trying to get it to be the most accurate is kind of what I'm trying to say. The guard for the Crossmen, this is something the Crossmen released a few months ago. They are all female members. There's no male guard members. The March of the Valkyries is what it starts off with. Then it continues along. There's a drill in the middle of the show where there's a giant V in the middle of the field. That's an interesting part of the show. One of the parts of the show, one production that they are featuring, has a transparency of music aspect to it. At least that's what Carlson said. And really, to translate that the best I can is that's like the music scene. And they're still acting visually, but they're showing how the music kind of is affecting their visual concepts. And then the second production they're featuring is the one that really is that I'm not really a huge fan of, and that's the interaction between the drum majors and the audience, where the drum majors turn around and turn into, I don't know. It's just interesting. They turn around, they stomp their feet and clap, and then stomp their feet and clap, and it's going to be interesting because either the audience participates or that will be out by San Antonio. Yeah, interesting to say the least, this Crossman show, and I'll get to some fun fact on the next part about the uniforms. One last thing here. This show features music from Led Zeppelin, Trent Reznor, and Andrew Markworth. Markworth's pieces are original compositions. So I would say, here's all the uniform designs for the Crossmen this year. But I can't say that. And I can't say that because each member has a different uniform. They all look somewhat alike, but each of the 154 different uniforms have a different part to them, or a different design. Yeah. Just by looking at these ones, not like studying all 154 up close, this is interesting. The performer with the headdress on, that is the lead drum major, Lydia Marshall. And the course starts back in the left corner of the field. And they march forward, and she blows into this big tube to start the show. And it's interesting. This show is like high energy, but it's like I don't know what to think of it because I don't know how they're going to do competitively. Because they might do very well, or they could struggle. I think it's probably one of the better Crossmen shows we've seen, though, over the past few years. You see each of the color guard costumes, that's the left under where it says 2019 uniforms. Really, you see differences in them if you look closely, or if you look up in the right-hand corner here, you've got a stripe down the middle that's like bigger than the one here, the individual performer. It's just lots of different uniforms, but this is the main concept behind all of the different designs. Be interesting to see how the show turns out. The performers seem as though they're enjoying it, which is one of the key parts. You've got a pretty good staff, especially being led by somebody like Ed Devlin, who's one of a bunch of legendary figures in the activity. And you also have to go along with that, a very excited fan base, and the activity is excited to see what they can bring. So thank you for watching this season preview. Just a few things. Make sure to visit my website, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com, for all the latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours. Scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more can all be found at my own personal website about all things Drum Corps. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DrumCorpsGeek, and subscribe to the Show Day podcast on YouTube, where this podcast and more will be posted. Last thing now, if you have any questions, comments, you know something about the show I didn't mention, leave it in the comment section here on YouTube or on Twitter or Instagram, wherever you're watching. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.